Welcome, welcome, welcome. Not to quote Stain, but it's been a while. So hopefully everyone's been doing well. And don't mind me getting distracted, making sure that this mic is still fully in place here. Looks like it was not uh, tightened up at all, so that's good. So hopefully you can still hear me as I spin this thing around. Oh, well, that's fixed now. I'm glad I noticed that. That was damn near falling out. But yeah, it's definitely been a while. Hopefully everybody's doing good. I've been doing good. Um, Still on the old social media hiatus. Doing really well. Made some positive changes in my life and dropped right around 60 pounds the last I looked and checked. Definitely changed. A lot of habits, doing well, feeling good. So all things are good on that, and hopefully they're going well for you as well. Going well for you as well. That does not sound good. Anyways, hope things are going good. The Also, there's no health scare or anything. It's just something I've been wanting to do, and finally decided to put my mind to it and got it done. But I'm gonna go through a bunch of topics since it's been a little bit. It's just me today, but I'm going to cover them best I can. Get you kind of caught up with my thoughts on some certain things. First being the title of this is going to be Mutant Mishap, because anybody that knows me knows I'm a Turtle super fan, I guess you'd say. Pretty much own everything imaginable to do with Turtles, figures, the movies, even the VHS, posters. We got the original movie poster, all kinds of autographs, the giant shredder, pretty much got it all. I actually went and saw this movie in theaters. So I know it's on Paramount Plus now because it's been so long, but I went and saw it in theaters. I went by myself because I honestly didn't want any sort of like distraction or anything to make me affect my opinion. I felt like it was kind of important to go in. It's kind of single-handedly on this one. I went to a late night showing, opening week, I believe. I actually got the like a little collector's thing that I bought from the theater, so I got a labeled cup, or I guess a branded cup for the movie with the Leonardo that sits on top, and then a branded popcorn tin as well, which are both pretty cool, to be honest. I try to pick those up, being an avid moviegoer. Anytime anything cool, is offered like that, I try to get that. So I did get that. To start off with the positives, I think the animation was good. It's a different style. I'll even say I think the voice acting was good. The cameo of Kevin Eastman's really nice at the end of the movie, just to kind of pay homage to him. And so, I mean, there are some positives, and I'll explain kind of why it doesn't hit for me. It took me all of 15, 20 minutes to confirm what I feared, is that the movie was never meant for me to begin with. And I get that. I do. It was meant to bring newer, younger kids in this generation to liking the Turtles and things that they would understand, versus what I enjoyed growing up, and have still enjoyed to this day. What I mean like that is changing the backstory from Oroko Saki, to who in the original taught Splinter. Splinter was his rat in his cage. Oroko Saki. Good lord, voice is already messing up. Anyways, Oroko Saki was involved in Shredder, and Splinter witnessed it through the cage. And that's in the original how he learned ninjutsu. So hopefully you're still with me there. Which is to kind of explain, Oroko Saki is the Shredder. And I would probably butcher his name, to be honest. Oroko Saki was not the owner of Splinter. His owner was someone who was fighting Splinter's master. I believe, to pronounce it correctly, is Minato Yoshi. Hopefully I didn't mess that up. So, sorry if I did. I'm also not looking at anything in spelling, so I'm just going off the old memory, so I'm sure I'll probably fuck something up by now. But anyways, so, yes, in the original story, Splinter witnesses the fighting through his cage. He scratches Orokosaki's face, who is Shredder. And then he flees away, obviously gets into the ooze. Well, sorry, spoiler alerts if you haven't seen it yet. You might want to stop listening. But the new movie, the Turtles learn ninjutsu and martial arts from YouTube videos and Kung Fu TV. Okay. I'm sorry, I can't say that with a straight face. I mean, of course, when I think ninjutsu, I definitely think fucking YouTube videos for sure. But I understand that a younger generation, YouTube's a big part of their life, and even my life. I love watching stuff on YouTube. But something that, obviously, for an older person like me who enjoyed it, the Turtles lived in the sewer. They didn't have, Donnie and Mikey shared the skateboard, but they didn't have really modern things. Obviously Raph sneaks out and goes to the movies. So they do enjoy going to things and stuff like that, but they were, at least curious about the outside life, but in most parts, they stayed true to the older times, so it's hard for me to try to process the newer things, and maybe that's just being old, but YouTube videos, also the fact that they all have cell phones, I mean, I think things like that is where it loses me, because I understand it's a new generation, and everybody has cell phones now, and that's all good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a cell phone, obviously, but that's just not what the feeling of the kids knowing martial arts. It was an escape and something different from reality, instead of just the same old shit that everybody does now, which is on your damn cell phone and social media 24 hours a day. But I get, for a younger person, that would make sense. So maybe they're like, oh, hey, the Turtles use cell phones, cool, let's do. For me, I'm like, stupid as shit, sorry to tell you. Again, this is just my opinion, and then I'm probably nitpicking to some people at this point, but these are just the things I dislike about the movie. And to go with that, like at one point, I can't even remember which turtle, one of them is twerking, that just loses me. It is not anything that I would ever associate to be with the Turtles. Also, I don't know why April's of the same age as the Turtles in this. I don't get that. And then really the whole story is about them. I mean, I'll just tell you the ending. After they defeat, after they win, their whole goal is just to go to high school. And I'm thinking, okay, that seems like very low stakes things we're dealing with here about the Turtles wanting to go to high school. And I get all this shit about wanting to be accepted, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I get all that. I feel like that's been overplayed 8,000 times. But whatever. So, voice acting was good. The artwork, CGI, even without the nitpicking things I mentioned, the story is not terrible. It just falls flat for me. And it's still... and I've, the original movies, there's been plenty of cartoons. Even Rise, I didn't like what they did to the characters, but it wasn't terrible. But, the series, the 2012-ish, I don't remember the exact year, I thought those were really solid. They had Jason Biggs. It's really solid overall. There's been a lot of renditions, and I know this is just Seth Rogen and whoever else's vision for the Turtles, but I just wasn't feeling it. I mean, I'm not going to go talk shit on the internet, I guess. I guess this is technically what I'm doing through this podcast, but I'm not going to go argue with people. I'm not going to try to make people convinced, and it's not. People could take movies if they wish, but these are the things that I, witnessed and the reasons that I disagree with the direction of the movie. So that's my thought on that. That's the title, Mutant Mishap, because I feel like that's generally what it was. I mean, to be honest, after watching it, I felt bad that I talked so much shit on Michael Bay for those two movies. But either way, obviously the NFL season is underway. For some teams, that's good. Cowboys are looking pretty good. Chiefs rebounded after a rough week 1. Lions are looking pretty good. Eagles are looking pretty decent and strong still. Vikings aren't doing good. My Panthers look like shit. I mean, there's no real nice way to put it. New coaching staff, new players, Bryce Young. It's only been a few games, but Bryce is looking pretty rough. It's hard adjusting. Obviously, it's not an easy feat to get to the NFL, but he looks kind of lost back there, and I think he's used at Alabama. He could make a lot of plays with his feet, and he did make a really nice run, but that's not going to work every play. And then the new receivers just aren't really doing a good job of getting open either. Got injuries. The Brian Burns holdout, which he ended up playing, but Shaq Thompson is hurt. We already got a guard on IR. J.C. Horn is already on IR, best corner. So things are not looking good. Already off to a bad start for being a Panthers fan. And much happier news: the Braves are having a historic season. Setting all kinds of home run records and average records and people with home runs. Acuna is very close to going 40-40 with homers and stolen bases. I'm paying attention to the game right now, up on the Nationals, but don't have that win, or don't have that home run yet. But very close to clinching home field advantage. Hopefully for the playoffs and the whole World Series. So things are going good. Hopefully that keeps going strong. As far as I don't even know if anybody cares, but I'll kind of tell you what I've been doing for the weight loss journey since it's been working for me, and maybe if it works for you. I'm not a dietitian or a nutritionist, so it may not work for you. It's fine. But I've been following a kind of specific diet. In the morning, of course, I gotta have my cup of coffee. I mean, come on. And then I make 4 eggs, no seasoning, no oil, nothing, just an egg pan, so you can, flip it. Don't have to use any of that stuff. And then some white yogurt with, how the hell did I just forget what it's called? Granola. Holy hell. Brain's going south fast. So yeah, 4 eggs and then granola. Yogurt. Obviously, as time goes by, you can limit that down to lower eggs, more yogurt, whatever you need to do, or just less eggs from the start. For lunch, it's 2-ish tablespoons of peanut butter, and then for dinner, do baked chicken with vegetables, and then you could throw in whichever different vegetables you want. If you use cans, it's best to wash them off first to eliminate the sodium. Whatever you can do, little tweaks. As far as drinking, the only real things of water or tea, or after working out, because there is exercise involved too, of course, then, you can get to some electrolytes. And then for dessert, it's really just, fruit, whatever fruit you want to throw in there. Some occasional popcorn won't kill you either. Just obviously, if you do that, watch the sodium you had for the day so you don't overdo it. And then, like I said, mix in exercise. Try to do, depending on your weight and everything, that depends on a lot. Just monitor what you can do exercise-wise and just raise it in increments over time. And that's what I've done. So keep going, and to see how that works out for you, and hopefully that helps somebody, if so. As far as some new games, Starfield has been out. Been playing it quite a bit when I have extra time. I definitely enjoy it. Graphic is beautiful. The story is fun. Haven't beaten it yet. Of course, I'm doing every side mission imaginable. Takes inventory and stuff. Takes some getting used to. Lots of starter options. So I do thoroughly enjoy it. I do like how the shooting and combat aspect is definitely on a new engine and upgraded from Fallout. Not that Fallout's bad, but it's nice to see something new and refreshing. So I do like that a lot. The the ship fighting is a lot similar to, I'd say, probably a Battlefront series. Oh no, excuse me. I wish the new Star Wars were Battlefront. Or I get the newer Star Wars games where you do the ship fighting, and it is what I would kind of compare it to, which is pretty good. So I don't have any complaints with that. Mortal Kombat 1 just came out a few days ago, and I haven't beat the story yet either. Graphics look really nice on PC. Seems really smooth. I like the combos. The story went in a different direction from what I've played, so I think it's solid. If you're into fighting games, it's probably a good one to pick up. Do have Anime Con next week. I wish. Next month. Next month's kind of be a busy one. Got AEW in 2 or 3 weeks. Then we got Anime Con at the end of the month. Closer to the end of the month. And then Halloween. And then we actually have another AEW in November. So, bunch of different events. Hopefully a good time. I'll give you any updates of any cool things I see. We did watch All In. Thought it was a great show. MJF and Adam Cole was great. Obviously, there was the Punk and Jungle Boy issues there. I feel like that's been beat to death already. I think Tony did the right move, though, getting rid of Punk, because he seems to have just has issues around him at all times. I think that's just a distraction, and hopefully Jungle Boy's back soon. The Twisted Metal show, I don't even remember when this came out. I don't think I've talked about it yet, but I did enjoy it. It was a slow starter, because it took me a little bit at the first. I was thinking, okay, what the hell does any of this have to do with Twisted Metal? And then finally, once I got into like third or fourth episode, it started clicking. I'm like, okay, now I understand what's happening. It's kind of over-the-top action and comedy, which I like, and I thought they did a good job. Season 2 looks to be more about actually what the Twisted Metal games are about, with the vehicle combat part of it, and you get some of that at the end of the first season, too. So overall, I thought it was actually pretty good. Blue Beetle, I kind of went into it with moderate expectations, and it was about what I thought it was. It was pretty funny. Not the greatest superhero movie, but definitely not the worst. So, if you're into superhero movies, and if you're not beat to death with superhero movies at this point, if you want to watch Blue Beetle, I'd say it's worth your time. Not too bad. Just don't expect it to be an epic piece of cinema, which I never do with superhero movies, and you'll be good to go. Gran Turismo, I really thought going in, I honestly didn't think this movie was going to be any good, because I thought to myself, why the hell is this a movie anyways? Even though I've played original Gran Turismo on PlayStation 1 in like 1995, one of the first games I ever had for PlayStation 1, and I love the Gran Turismo series. I just never saw a movie coming, and I was actually very impressed. It's a lot better than what I expected. I was not familiar with the whole story of what the movie is about, without spoilers. Of the players who were very good at the game in tournaments becoming actual race car drivers. Was not familiar that was even a thing, even through all my years of Gran Turismo. So that was really cool. Thought it was well put together. Exceeded my expectations. Strays, new movie with Will Ferrell and Jamie Foxx. Very dirty, but very great at the same time. I thoroughly enjoyed it. If you're easily offended, I don't think I would recommend it. Then again, if you're going to a Will Ferrell movie and you're easily offended, I don't know what you're doing anyways, but definitely think it's worth the watch. I've actually seen every one of these movies in theaters, but I think that was another great movie, good for the laughs. The Last Voyage of Demeter, Dracula movie, if you don't know what it's about. I actually thought it was really good. It was better than what I expected. Again, I go to these movies, these days I don't I'm never on social media. I don't. What I've changed is I like going to the movies. I see the previews when we're at a movie, and that's kind of what I base it on, or I see what's in the app when I go to book the movies. So I can, when I book them for everybody, but I try to limit my exposure to this as well as other people's opinions on trailers or stories or anything, because I like going into it with an open mind that's not predetermined upon what somebody else told me. And that's worked well, so I try not to go into these movies with huge expectations or already having so much idea of what it's about or what other people said, because that sticks in your head. That can, alter, I feel like, your feelings of things without even meaning to. So, I went into that not really knowing what to expect, and I wasn't let down. I thought it was pretty good for what it was. Talk to Me, a newer horror movie. I think it's out on Blu-ray or, digital by now, but another good movie. If you're into horror type things and horror thriller movies and supernatural-ish, then that'll be a good movie for you. I believe it's already been greenlit for a sequel. Good acting, a new direction. And I guess a different take on some horror movies a little bit. Pretty dark and twisted. I thoroughly enjoy it. I'm a huge horror guy, so a lot of this stuff I'm kind of a sucker really for any horror movie. It's got to look pretty bad for me not wanting to go see it. And that's just from a little trailer. And even then, most cases, I'll still go see it unless, I just can't stand to look at it, which is very rare. I'll pretty much go watch anything once. I didn't... From what I saw about the Turtles movie, I wasn't overly excited because that's kind of what I figured. Again, I do try to limit what I see. This is just strictly from just the previews at the theater, which everybody sits through and everybody sit and talk shit on whether it looks good or not in the theater out loud, because that's just how it goes. Dane Cook stand up one side, they're like, you turn to each other and you're like, that was stupid. They're like, oh, I can't wait to see that. So it's a real thing. And but that's my thoughts on that. If you like horror movies, I think you'll like Talk to Me. Oppenheimer, we went as a group in the IMAX. Obviously a longer movie, 3 hours. Really great quality of the special effects. Actually, the way they filmed it, I watched some videos of with the director and Robert Downey Jr., and he's not really into CGI, so they did a lot of that stuff as always, with real explosions and anything they could do. So I thought that was a good movie, though. Obviously, you go through the history with Oppenheimer, World War II, nuclear bomb. You get the idea. I'm sure you probably, his name's pretty famous, so I'm sure you probably know who Oppenheimer is or heard about his work. Insidious, that was one of the movies that we went and saw. Coming from a huge horror fan and someone who's seen all the Insidious and Conjuring movies, I just gotta say, this is not a good movie. There's not a lot of real redeeming factors. I don't think there's ever been a bad Insidious movie before now, but I definitely can't say I was a big fan. It just was not scary. The ending was very poor. Sometimes, movies are meant to, make you think about things and make you believe. Sometimes I think the social interactions they put in movies, especially horror movies, are just not how people would normally react to one another. It's just kind of one of those things, without as many spoilers as possible, if you're a kid at college, you just met somebody, in a, I don't even remember what they call them now, but where the dorm rooms where they have co-ed dorm rooms, that's it. Where the male and females are both allowed. And then for no reason, the day after you're there, you barely talk to one another, and then you're going to go chase supernatural ghosts together and shit. That just, I just don't see that being a thing. Really, I don't. And then the ending where all they had to do was just paint over the painting of the door, even though they were in his head before he ever made the painting. So how does that make any sense? But whatever, I guess. Just fuck me for bringing common sense into the equation. Anyways, that's my summary of that. I can't say I was a big fan on that one. Pretty lame. I think that's all the movies I've seen here recently. I had intentions of doing a pre-season, like records and divisions with everybody, and it just didn't happen. But I plan on being much more active. Just been, keeping hard on work and just enjoying life and getting things done. So I hope to continue doing that moving forward. Like I said, I got a lot of stuff coming up, so should have updates and knickknacks, and I'll share some photos for any cool stuff that we pick up, or any photos of any cool people we meet, any things like that. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I actually forgot. There was one other thing. I noticed that someone with a very similar name to ours has randomly started posting a new podcast. Just this summer, I believe it was July, and they're going by the name Genuine Intelligence. Just so you know, that's not us. And either one of two things happen. Either they're just shitty and decided to use a very similar name for some clout, or they just never Googled the name and just randomly came up with it. I don't know. It seems kind of fishy, but either way, fuck them. And definitely not going to support them. I honestly thought about buying the domain for their podcast name and then sending it to ours, but then I didn't want people to think that we're affiliated with them in any way. I thought about reaching out to them to ask them what their problem is and just haven't done it. And it also seems kind of petty, but just so you know, that's not us. And yeah, that's the last of the free advertisement they're going to get from me. But Giants and Niners are getting ready to kick off, so I hope everybody has a good night. I'll be back on soon. I might even do some streaming here before too long. We have a D&D. We haven't scheduled the next D&D. The last one we didn't even do online. But we'll be back with you guys soon. Holidays are coming up. We'll hit you with the new Secret Santa this year. And hopefully Cody doesn't fuck it up this time. So, hope everybody's having a good one. Until next time, thanks for watching, everybody.